Hi guys, welcome to the Sensible Hippie podcast, and I'm your host, the Sensible Hippie. Today we are diving into a truly intriguing topic with a remarkable guest. Joining us is Mary Beth Robinson, the founder of Superpower Inc. At Superpower Inc., Mary Beth focuses on unlocking what she calls the superpower in each of us. Those innate talents and abilities that are often overlooked because they come so naturally. Her intuitive abilities, honed from a young age, enable her to connect with people on a deeper level and help them realize their fullest potential. In today's episode, we'll explore how Mary Beth discovered her gift, the transformative power of understanding our inner strengths, and why she believes everyone has a superpower waiting to be unleashed. So get ready for an enlightening conversation that might just reveal a side of you that you never knew existed. So let's welcome Mary Beth Robinson. I want to thank you again and welcome you to the Sensible Hippie podcast. And I'm thrilled to have you, Mary Beth Robinson. You are the founder of Superpower Inc. And you have a unique talent for helping individuals find their superpower and harness their superpower. So I'm excited about this conversation. I think that, the idea of discovering and utilizing our superpower is not only fascinating, but also relevant in everyone's journey of discovering themselves and personal growth. So I guess to kick things off, if you could share with us what inspired you to start Superpower Inc. and how your journey led you to this unique field.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I know you had to make special arrangements because we have such a time difference. I think in my experience, everybody is born with a superpower. They have that. That's part of our DNA. It's part of our makeup. And so when I was really young, I could just easily tune in to people. I would be like, when your parents leave you with a babysitter or something, and you're like, I was always like, am I safe? And I would just tune in with them, without even, it's just what I did. It was no big deal. I just thought, well, everybody does that. In fact, I didn't even think that, because things that we do easily, we just were like, oh yeah, that's just how everyone does it. And so when Chariots of Fire came out, and it was released in 1981. So I was 11, and my grandmother in Dallas was like, Suzanne, who is my mom, she said, Suzanne, bring the girls. They must see this movie. So it's not like we didn't have movie theaters in Oklahoma, but we went to Dallas and went to this beautiful old movie theater that was a theater, and so it's got all this ornate stuff, and it was beautiful. And we were sitting there, and in Chariots of Fire, there's this iconic scene where you see these Olympic athlete runners running along a beach, and it's from an Olympics in like the 20s or the 30s. And they looked so happy. And in the story, because it's a story about two real runners in the Olympics, and one of them was from Scotland, and he was a Christian missionary who went to China. And so he said, I believe that God made me for China to go spread the missionary message in China, but he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's what I want. Running is not my thing, but I want to find that thing that I feel so right about and so me when I do it. And so I already had that desire in me, but it really spoke to me. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, what is that thing? What is that thing that I love? And it's not always easy to find because, it's interesting when I work with people on their superpowers because they think that I'm going to say, oh, well, career-wise, you should do this. And as you have experienced, because I did write up for you, it's really about so much more about who you are rather than like a career or a position that, somebody else created. It's very personal and unique and powerful, but it's not a profession. So I think we're always thinking, what profession should I do and what fits for me? That we're looking outside instead of looking at inside and then bringing that to whatever we do.
That's incredible. So I think you and I are the same age. You said 1981. You were 11.
Yeah.
I was born in 71. So you were born around that same time.
I was born at the beginning of 1970.
Oh, that's so cool.
See, you look like 20, 30 years old.
No, I don't. Oh, absolutely not. No. No. Were you raised in Colorado?
I was raised in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay, that's so cool. Wow.
It was a great place to be. I mean, it was this really special city that I grew up in.
Wow. Yeah, I grew up here in Hawaii, so
nice.
We're far apart, but
yes.
Still. But I've never seen that movie, Chariots of Fire. So I never watched it, so I don't know what it's about. But sounds pretty cool.
First of all, it's a beautiful movie. I think it won like 8 Oscars.
Wow.
And and it wasn't like one of those fast-paced, oh my gosh movies, but it's a movie you'll never forget. They're just, and the fact that it is based on the true story of these Olympics, and the gentleman that I talked about earlier, Eric Liddell, he wouldn't run on Sundays. So like this would never work in today's Olympics. But like another runner, I think, if I can remember it, he's like, well, here, I'll just hop in this race and you can hop in my race. Like they would never allow that now, but it worked out for him, to stay true to his ideals, and it is a breathtaking movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you say that everyone has these superpowers. So how do you define what a superpower is in your content of work, and why do you believe everyone has one?
My superpower is that I can see other people's superpowers. So when I work with people, I see this incredible stuff within them. And my experience is that well, first of all, let me go back to the definition of a superpower. So a superpower is something that you do naturally. You're naturally really good at it without even trying. And the second thing is that it brings you joy and you'd love to do it every day. And the third is it makes a positive difference for yourself and others. So that's what a superpower is. And it's something that doesn't seem impressive. The first thing I try to tell people is superpowers don't sound impressive. Now, like there's so I don't work with Oprah yet, but I am but her superpower is I dig for the truth and I share it with the world. That's it. And when you look at what she does and how she does it, that's what she does. She is always like, let's get deeper into that and let's get deep, she asks really penetrating questions and she will not let go until she gets the answer, and then she talks about it. And when you look at her career, there was that amazing episode where she had all men in the audience with pictures of the age they were when they were first molested. And, That, I mean, talk about a vulnerable thing. And those really courageous men who stood up, and that just wasn't really what people talked about. And she was just like, let's talk about this, let's get into this, and what resources are there for people who have experienced that, male or female, or so. But that's what her career is. And when you look at the way that people talk now, given that you're mostly my age, when what we were hearing in the 1970s wasn't what we hear now. Like, I am a big sports fan, so I'll be watching NFL football, and they'll say, this guy's had a really tough year mental health wise. His mom died of cancer. His child was born and his special needs, and nobody would have said that in the 70s. Like, this guy's dad just died, and he took a couple of days off this week. That was not happening in the 70s and 80s. Things have changed so much. So the point is that no matter what your superpower is, you express it naturally. And nobody's superpower is better or more powerful than anyone else's. It just depends if we give it enough time to express and to shine.
So you can read someone's superpower without even knowing them. Do you
It's
have
better.
to know? It's better that you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
So do you have a feeling, or do you go by their name, or you have to think about them?
I just kind of tune in, kind of like a satellite dish, and I'm like, there we go. And yours was really easy. Yours was super easy, and for some people it's really obvious. I think for other people who, sometimes we get closed down in life, like we're going through grief, or we're really stressed, or, we're trying to be somebody we're not. And then at those times, people are much more difficult to get, to get the information. But when people are more clear, it's awfully very easy. So with you, I just sat down and I'm like, okay, let me just tune in, and then I just wrote all this stuff up for you, and that was it. And I find that's better, because I don't have an expectation of this is what this person's like. I can just call it as I see it.
Not even seeing it, because we've never met before. So
Right, exactly. Right, we don't know anything about each other.
No.
This is the first time I'd seen your face.
Yeah.
And I purposefully, when I go on podcasts, I purposefully don't do research, because I want to be able to get that pristine impression of somebody.
That's incredible. Yeah. And you were right on point, what you were saying. When we talk about that, I'll when you tell me some stuff, I'll give you some information.
Yeah.
To that. But yeah, that's incredible. So when you were young, I know you said, like, when you were with your parents' adult friends, and you just kind of, what would you do? Just read them, or you would just? Are you a medium? Is that what you are?
You know what? I can do that sometimes.
Okay.
But it's not really in my wheelhouse. It's not my specialty. My specialty is much more about what's great about this person. Like, let's really see who this person is. And I like that. Like, there are people who are psychics who work with the police, and I'm like, no. Like, I can't take that, because, like, being around that energy, I really don't. I could pursue it, but why would I? That would be like somebody who is a great accountant and loves numbers, and somebody says, let's have you be a surgeon. Like, probably not, So, I would just tune in to people. And the problem with people, I think, who are so intuitive, and this is just kind of an aside, but people who are really intuitive, they can pick up everything. And it's awful when you can pick up everything. So one of the things that I learned to do in my, probably early 30s is to filter it out. Is just to be like, nope, only the good. I'm only going to see the good unless there's a warning that I need, and I'll let that in. But I had to learn how to do that, because if you just open your energy up to everything, there's, stuff out there you don't want to feel or sense or, have an idea of.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's incredible, though. So have you ever, I guess, do you call it reading them? Is that what you call it?
I do.
Okay.
Or a superpower impression. But,
Okay.
I think the important thing to know for me is that that's just the way my brain works. That's it. It's not like, it's no more special than somebody who can just walk into, like, they work at a tattoo place and they can draw something on somebody's arm. To me, that's like, how does anyone do that? Like, that's amazing to me, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, that's amazing. And for some people, they're like, well, if I had your ability, it would be easy. And I'm like, no, that's not how it is. Because we just take for granted who we are. That's it. And especially when things are easy for us, we kind of discount them because we think, well, I didn't work hard for this. Now, I've practiced it for, decades now, but still, I'm just like, oh, well, it's okay. I tend to downplay it, but I also want people to realize that everyone has their special superpower that's amazing. It's just that we don't see it. We think we should be like other people. Like, I spent a lot of my young life trying to be the most, I was just kind of like out in the ether, like enjoying life. And then at a certain time, I thought, oh my gosh, I need to be super responsible. And while I think being responsible is important, I kind of shoved my intuitive abilities and my, kind of dreamy, visionary abilities to the side because I thought being responsible was better, because that's something that was hard for me. And I think that's common for people. Like, they'll see somebody else's ability and they'll think, oh, well, that's amazing. But everyone, I think, has to come to grips with, wow, I do have something amazing inside of me.
That's awesome. Have you ever maybe read someone that's negative? Like something evil? Is that?
You know what? Okay, that's a great question because I am most of the time I just see the great in people, and they're like, the response is usually like, I always hoped that was true, but I thought that was just like an ego thing, and I should just not listen to it. On occasion, I will have somebody who I can't read for whatever reason, and then I'm just honest. I'm like, I can't get anything. It is what it is. There are probably other people out there who can, but I can't. That doesn't happen very often. But then on other occasions, and this I think has happened twice, is that I'll tune in with somebody and I will literally get the message of, do not tune into this person. And the two times that's happened are not because of that the person is like really negative, but that they are energetically connected with somebody who is a pretty bad person. And so they're like, you don't want your energy around that. So just don't do it. And then I'll ask again. I'm like, are you sure? And then I get this answer that's like, yeah, you're not doing it. You are not doing it. So that is really uncommon, but it does happen. It does happen.
Do you have a voice in your head that kind of tells you these things? Is that what it is?
Not necessarily. I feel like I'm an interpreter. I think a sign language someone who signed, and I'm going to get this wrong, but they're either repeating the exact words, or that's a translator. But if it's like somebody who is an interpreter, they are going to take what the intent was and say it. So I just get impressions, and it's kind of like sometimes I'll see pictures or something, but usually I just like get emotions and clarity, and then I interpret that in the best way that I can so that the person gets it. And I know that they've gotten it when I stop talking about it. If they don't get it, then I'll just keep talking about it. And sometimes they're like, why do you keep talking about this? And I'm like, because I don't think you got it yet. So yeah, I don't hear a voice. Sometimes I will know that there are particular words to say. Like, sometimes it'll be like something particular someone heard a lot when they were a kid. And, but most of the time, it's just me interpreting the message.
I think that's a really cool superpower.
It is cool. You know what? I know. But, I've even thought about that everyone I do a superpower session with, that I should write that up and put it like on my Twitter page, put it on my website, because they're all amazing. When we really see each other, it is like, what a cool, like Oprah, what a cool superpower. You dig for the truth and you share it with the world. Like, that's pretty basic, so go dig for the truth, go find the truth and share it. And yours is so special in that it's certainly not close to anything I've ever felt before.
What do you mean by that?
Oh yeah, you know what? And I know I did this, a week ago, I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember everything, and I could certainly look that up. But you have you're from Hawaii, and I just feel like that, of course you're from Hawaii, because you have this this kind of Mother Earth vibe that is like this timeless thing. Every once in a while, I will do a session with somebody who really embodies like a timeless pillar of humanity or of life. And you're one of those people. You're like, you hold space for everything. Like if you were a tree, you'd be an oak tree. Giving off acorns and starting a forest, and but yours has a lot to do with water too. I mean, every time I imagine you, it's surrounded by water, but not chaotic water, but very calm water, and with the circle of life around you, and really holding that space for everybody, like for holding the space for people to grow and learn and be nurtured and to get what they need and to thrive. So I don't know how that fits in, with your life, but that is the very strong impression I got, and that you have such a connection with nature, and you really feel things. You feel them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. I would consider myself an intuitive.
Yeah.
I can definitely feel energy. People's energies, for mm-hmm. sure. As soon as you walk in that room, I can tell it's either good or bad.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always something that I could feel too as a kid.
Yeah.
Same.
And I feel like part of your purpose is to know that about people so that you can help them. If somebody needs a certain thing, you're like, I got it. I know what they need. Or if sometimes we need to like kind of be like, slow it down, like with somebody, like, okay, your energy is going out all over the place. Let's just come back in. Let's get calm. Then let's make a decision or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
You also said something, I wish I had it in front of me. You mentioned something about, was it ancient? Something ancient? I'd have to look it up.
yeah.
I don't remember exactly. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
Be right here.
And I apologize. I do a lot of
Yeah, you
reading,
do.
and I like my job is to let them come through me and go out. So I often don't remember what I have said because I'm off to another person.
Exactly.
So my apologies.
No, but I wanted to. Okay, can I read this then?
Yeah.
Okay, it says, you have a universal purpose. While most people are hung up on attaining things, your purpose has been so present to you that you never got caught up in that. Your soul is like the universal symbol of Mother Earth. This symbol is all colors, races, all beings, all ideas, that is everything. While this symbol is usually associated with a tree, your symbol is water, specifically the oceans. You are aware of holding space for all creation. In your way, you embody this every day. You honor all of life in its many forms, seen and unseen. You have a larger view than what happens around you. You know what you do to what you do affects all things. Sorry, my eyes are really bad. You gather people together and you convey them by your actions and your energy that we are all one and that we all live in harmony. This is you. This has always been you. You are a peacemaker and believer, a singer of songs of life. This is exactly what you just said. And then you said, this is the part, and you have the ancestors to prove it. So I didn't understand that part, but I may. It says it's extremely, extremely rare that all I sense one's own ancestors being a superpower match, but your ancestors are a match. And that is important to your community and your family. And there is many more like you who have come and gone. The reason I explain this is because you sense your ancestors and the ones who held this space long before you have. They will guide and support you. Just pay attention to the message they send you. They're communicating all of the time. Remember to listen and trust the message you get. Continue to create community and unity. We are truly one, and as more people realize this, the healthier our planet becomes. So that was really cool. Even you're touched by it, right? Yes. So,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I remembered a lot from the beginning. But yes, so a lot of people, they're like, oh well, my grandmother had the same superpower, and it doesn't. I mean, maybe it's similar. Like my daughter is super intuitive, but she's also so different in her purpose. But but your ancestors are different. And, I don't know if you've heard stories. I don't know, if you feel very connected to them. And I'm talking generations and generations back. But they held this space. And I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Me too.
Because, like, when truth comes in, it's like I get goosebumps all over, all over. But they are so they're talking to you, they are like when you were young, when you were a baby, they would like, like come and visit and, like hold you in their space and be like, you've got this. You have this gift and you will do this and you are this. And, did you ever feel like that when you were really young? Did you feel them around you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I did not feel them around me. I felt things around me, but I never thought they were anything like that. I thought I was always scared. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, because sometimes I think with people who are intuitive, we do pick up a lot of stuff that is not ours, and it's not even our families. It's just out there. So I think that's really common. And I mean, there should be, intuitive training, for little ones. because it can be scary. It really can be. And it can be kind of horrible as well but we're always called to tune in. So we're like, but I love to tune in. But then again, sometimes it's bad. So, but yeah, they said that they've been with you all this time. And do you have like little figurines or anything? Like, is there something that reminds you of your ancestors?
No,
or a picture?
No, I wish.
Okay.
Because I only go by stories that I've been told, and then I did my own research.
Okay.
I'll explain that to you soon. I'll let you keep finishing what you have to say.
Yeah, I just feel like there's something around you that, whether it's a piece of art or something, that does connect you with them. Is there like something that has just like some ancient scenery or some old fashioned? Okay.
Not really, no.
Well, if you see something like that, go ahead and get it, whether it's, just this little tiny figurine or something that is meaningful to you. Have it around, because that stuff it just helps connect you with that ancient wisdom.
Pretty cool. I mean, I have a lot of crystals, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
do you have turtles? Little turtles around?
No.
Do you like turtles?
I do. I like turtles. They're called honu in Hawaiian. Honu.
Oh.
Yeah. So I love, and they're sea turtles. I love sea turtles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
So
my favorite.
maybe a sea turtle something, a sea turtle necklace, or just something around. But crystals, they're powerful.
I know. Yeah, they definitely are. So my ancestor background, on my father, see, I have a lot of mix in me.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's my mother's side, the Japanese side, or my father's side. Now he's mixed too, but he just looks white. But he actually has a lot of like it's my great grandmother. She was a slave from Barbados. Yeah, so I can't go beyond that, because she was either came to Barbados from Africa, because it only starts from her. I guess it goes to, I think it's early or mid 1600s. I can go back I know. In the Barbados, they have these records that they kept, and so her background, I'm not sure. Of course, I did my DNA, and it comes from West Africa. Senegal. I forget. There's a couple other places that she could have been from, and then from there she came to Barbados, and was mixed with. I guess she was. Seemed like when you look at her records that she was married to, obviously my grandfather, but or my great grandfather, but she they didn't have her. You're not supposed to marry back then, so she was a house slave, it was called, and then from that point on, I think she just mixed in, and they've been mixing in with white people, so it went all the way down. And my great grandmother came to America in, I think it was late 1900s? I'm sorry, late 1800s, early 1900s. She came to America, and then from there they stayed in the Philadelphia area, and kind of grew from there in that area. But so that's my dad's ancestor side. So I don't really know too much about that, but I know it wasn't, and I'm not quite sure. I don't know if because she was a house slave at one point, and she was not sure. I wish I knew more about that, but I don't. And then my mom's side is just she's from Japan. So and it's hard to go back on that side too. I asked her about her ancestors, and she doesn't really know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the kind of weird ancestors I have on both sides.
Yeah. Do you, were you ever really close with one of your, like really, really close with one of your grandparents?
No, not too much, because my dad's mom, she didn't really like me that much. So no, not her at all.
Okay, not her.
And no. Yeah, and my dad's dad passed away when he was little. So I don't know him at all. And then my mom's side, I was as close as one could get. I didn't live in Japan, so we would visit them yearly. And, but they're not, the Japanese, at least back then, they're not very...
demonstrative.
They're not. There's no hugging and stuff. Like they don't say "I love you." It's different, especially those. She was older. So, yeah, so it's quite different. But I was closer to them than anyone else, and not close on my dad's side. No.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's the line I kept imagining is your mom's side. But it is interesting that you've done that DNA work, because, I mean, ancestors do not usually come up in superpower work. In my superpower work, they just don't. And I just feel like that there are ancestors way back, and not so recently way back, who are like, oh yeah, you're one of us. Okay. All right. There you go. We're going to make sure you're okay. So yeah, I feel like they're looking out for you, and I feel like that, that they talk to you and they give you signs, and, it's little things that you're like, oh, that's kind of a neat thing. Or they just say to watch out for that, because they're just like, that's just a thing, kind of them saying hello, and you're not alone, and, this is who you are. Just really validating things.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, I know you did chiropractic work too, didn't you?
I did. I was a chiropractor. Yeah. And, I became a chiropractor because I really wanted to do really great work with people. And, but there's a part of chiropractic that really works on like emotional release. And after a while I was like, that's all I want to do. Adjusting people is great. I mean, I love it. It's amazing. But I just didn't really want to do that as much. I just wanted to do emotional release work. And finally I realized I need to not be a chiropractor, because I don't actually want, it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot. And if I am specializing in emotional release work, I'm going to miss something physically that's happening. And I don't want to do that. And I didn't want to turn people away saying, I don't really want to treat, your recovery from an accident. You know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I need to I need to move on and do what I'm really supposed to do. Something that's 100% of a fit instead of like a 90% fit. It just wasn't, I had to move on and do what I really wanted to do, you know? So, because I feel like with our superpowers, we're always trying to use them. We're always trying to use them. And we don't often realize it, but it's like we're always compelled to use our superpowers. And for you, like to tune in with nature, to really, provide, to be a space for people, that's your thing. And so no matter what you do in life, it is colored by that focus of yours and that superpower. And you can bring people together.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And provide that safe space for them and that nurturing. And interestingly, with you, sometimes like the quieter you can get and the more still, the more powerful you are. How does that sound to you?
Good. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you need that time because, in the Western world, and I don't know about the Eastern world, but in the Western world, we're all about doing, do. And we're not necessarily about being. And you are a beer, for sure. Your energy makes a difference. Like when you are in your zone, oh my gosh, things happen. But without you having to do everything. So for you, it's super important to have that time for yourself or that quiet time to recharge and to really get your center and really be in that that kind of that spiritual all is one mindset. And that's how you make a difference. You, time and time again, I find myself saying, when we are being our truth, other people can be their truths as well. They can be their true self. And when you hold that space, it's so powerful. Those waves go out well beyond where you can possibly imagine they go.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all true.
So don't discount it just because it's not a doing thing. Like when you're involved in something, like there was this great line in, did you see Get Shorty with John Travolta? He plays this gangster named Chili Palmer. And so somebody asks him, they say, well, you must bring something pretty heavy to the table. And he says, I do. Me. He's really confident. But that's how you are. You bring something really great to the table. And when you're involved in it, you bring an aspect of depth and power to things that is not normal. But it's not necessarily seen because it's quiet. People who are paying attention will notice. But for you, you really need that quiet space. You need that time and that connection. If, for you to be out in nature or on the water, just being like, I just am, is like great for you.
Yeah.
You're living in a great place for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that is so important for you and such a source of inspiration. And then you automatically share it with people, and it is in a very energetic way.
Yeah.
So, you have this timeless purpose, this pillar of existence that is just the nurturing, holding space thing. it's kind of strange because it definitely is not like a profession. And I mean, it used to be probably you would have been like a medicine woman, like if I'm talking about that in, in Native American terms. But yeah, that's what you would be, or a poet, or, like a sage or something. But you are here in this time to do what you're supposed to do, and it looks different. And so whatever it is you do, you take this into it. Like, what were your thoughts about creating your podcast?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, about 7 years. And basically, like you said, just talking truths. First I wanted to do it on health because I really love the health and natural, all natural things though. Nature, like you said. I'm not talking about, in the medical aspects, but alternative way of doing things. And that's what really my website is about. That I go deep in about things like that. But so I wanted to talk about the truths of, and with all, and it doesn't even have to be on one topic, because I can't fit in a niche or niche. I just can't. I'm not that. I'm all over the place, and I want to talk about everything, and as long as it's the truth, and that's what I want it to do. So
absolutely, that's so you. It's so you, like, because it's universal.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Right, because it's not ever going to be like
one topic. I can't.
It's not right. Right, because it's right. And truth is, I mean, you could talk to a sculptor, you could talk to a singer, you could talk to, a mom, like whatever it is, a firefighter, whatever that is, there's truth there. And it's just wonderful to get connected to that and to remind people, like, okay, there's a deeper thing here.
Yeah.
Because your understanding, your connection is very, very deep. And you want to share that.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just like how you want to share your superpower of telling people their superpower.
Right. Exactly. We all have our purpose, and we were all born in the right time to do what we are, I think, created, made, designed to do. And for you love that. You love to be in that intimate space with somebody where there's truth present.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that keeps coming up for me with you is really honor that you need that connection time, that quiet time. Because it's so easy to not do that.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But that's where everything comes for you. Like, do you know when volcanoes are gonna go off in Hawaii? No. I have a friend who does.
Really?
Yes. She's like...
Maybe if I had more quiet time I could, but yeah.
She's like a volcano whisperer.
Wow.
It's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
She'll be like, oh, this volcano is waking up for the moment. Right. But that's not your thing, because if it were, you would do that. But other things, like how you were explaining to me the storm that just happened. And you were really acutely aware of, this is a different kind of thing, This was not just wind. This was, this had a different flavor. But yeah, I think your soul just really, really wants to honor what it needs, just to have that quiet time. And it doesn't have to be tons and tons, but it's just a must for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you are out in nature, or even when you're at home inside, when you connect with nature, you have these amazing ideas and things come to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yes.
And, if you were a medicine woman, then that would be all you did. You know what I mean? You would help heal people, and you would commune.
I think if I had another life, that's what I would have been, was a medicine
Yeah.
woman. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah.
feel like I'm connected to on that side.
Mm-hmm.
In that way.
I agree. I totally agree. I think, and just honoring that in yourself, and thinking, knowing, okay, I do need this quiet time, and I don't need to push myself and push and push and push. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Because when you do act as the person that you are, it will be so powerful that you don't, you're not, if you were an animal, you would not be a draft horse, working and working and working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not you. You're more like, I'd say, a sea turtle, like you're floating around, and you understand the tides, and, like, you're just being. And that alone is powerful.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Because what you say really, really makes a difference. Dive heavily into that, because you have things to share, and and even if what you share is, okay, everybody, you are good as you are. Like, you are already enough. That's a great message.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this kind of like how your sessions is with people? When you
It all depends. I mean, it really all depends. It's just so specific to the person, and like with me reiterating the fact that you have a need for rest and for quiet. That's one of those messages it's like, oh, it just keeps coming up. So, okay, we're gonna, like, really make sure that hits home. And, but most of the time people are like, okay, I saw what you read, and then let's go deeper, and let's go deeper. So that's kind of how a session goes. And sometimes we get into really specific, like, marketing stuff, and where to go next with this, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's just, let's just work inside at the moment. It really is what shows where you are when you have the conversation, and what it is you need right now. I mean, one of the things that I think is really important is to share information that's useful and timely.
That's really cool. Do you think, with your background in chiropractic and that neural technology or technique that you did, do you think that influences you with your superpowers and developing it, or?
I think I got a lot of great work done on me with that, and that helped a lot, because my brain was just kind of like, wee, all over the place.
Kind of like
and it's, I mean, in a way that's great, but in a way it makes life kind of hard too. I'm like, can I just finish a project? Okay, like, let's just get this done. But so I feel like it does, but I don't, and I love that I have a real sense of the body, like where everything is and what it could be, So, I mean, I think all of our education, we're using it, and all of our experience, we're using it all of the time. And, so I don't, it's just hard to know. It's hard to know. But I try to get as much information as I can from my intuitive abilities, because that's something that is beyond me. That's something that has a greater wisdom than I do, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So sometimes things will come up. But yeah, I just try to stay there and give people, like if they have just a deeper sense of who they are and a deeper sense. And so I find when I like to work with people over time, and we can just get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Because as we do that, then our outward life reflects what's happening on the inside. It gets simpler, it gets clearer, it gets easier. And there's a lot more joy and inspiration, that natural inspiration.
When you work with people over time, do you find that your thoughts of their superpower changes maybe?
It does. That is a great question. And I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that, but it really, really deepens. Because, my question is, where I would go with you is, okay, let's create that sacred time every day. And, you are a sacred being. You are like the more that you just take in and get, I would want to know, okay, when we go deeper and deeper, what does that look like? Because you've got everyday stuff to handle. You're not living by yourself in a cabin somewhere with very few responsibilities. But, even living in a cabin somewhere by yourself takes, plenty of maintenance. But what does that look like? What does that look like? And what is your innate plan? And how can I assist you in having that, see its highest expression? So it does. It does. It starts out as maybe something kind of general and gets very, very specific. That's really cool. And I'll have people who get on the phone with me and they're like, okay, here's what's happening. And they just look at me and they're like, okay, return to the simple things, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder you can't do that project. You're not inspired by it. You're all about inspiration, and then they'll be like, oh, that's right. Okay, right. And then we'll just go deeper. So it's fun to work with people over time because it really is. I feel like most of my work is giving people permission to be themselves. Yeah. Not that it's my permission to give, but because I gave them permission, they can give themselves permission to be like, you know what, I do need that time every day. I do need that connecting. Absolutely. And I've been making myself wrong for decades because I was trying to accomplish all the time.
Do you sometimes maybe, I guess after getting to know them, do you incorporate their maybe philosophies or religious backgrounds or anything like that into their superpower? Does that take a role in that?
I think it depends on the person. It really depends on the person. I've done enough work with people in enough different religions or spiritual practices. And I hate to be, I hope I'm not being controversial here, but there's something so universal about how we all are that doesn't really seem to come up if like somebody is, like a devout Catholic. It just makes them more Catholic. You know what I mean? Like it just makes them more devout. Whatever someone's expression is or beliefs are, it just works for them, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It just makes them more. Like for you are a spiritual being, this ancient spiritual being. It just makes you more of that. Yeah. I know that sounds really, some people will be like, oh, that sounds really woo-woo, but probably not your listeners.
Yeah. What are some steps maybe that someone can take to begin to discover their superpowers?
Absolutely. you can go on my website, which is Superpower Inc. INC, Superpower INC at or .org. Yes, .org. Sorry. I keep thinking, am I saying my email or okay? But anyway, sometimes when I am really in that intuitive space, I'm like, oh, I've got to come back and think. So there is on the very first where you land, it says, I would like a free, reading for my superpower, and that can get you started. I'll send you one, and it's specifically for you. And but I would have people ask, what is the one thing I would never give up? Like, what if I gave that up, I wouldn't be me? What is the one thing we tend to think, oh, like my superpowers, I'm organized, I'm on time, I, have a sense of color. No.
Could it be family?
For some people.
Would that be?
What was that?
Could it be family? Like I couldn't give up on my family. Like I wouldn't want to.
Yes, right. But maybe it's not like, I would say that's not, of course you would not want to give up your family. But maybe it's, I would never give up my sense of family, if that makes sense. Because it's got to be something like internal. So, yours could be, especially with your superpower, it could be like with my community, like with my connections. I would never be, like I would not be me if I couldn't connect like I can. And so that's like, some people, their superpower is organization. For me, organization is a tool. I could give that up and still be me. But my ability to tune in with people, I would not be me without that.
That's true. So I guess maybe in that sense, I would say maybe my intuitive, I wouldn't want to give that up.
And especially because that's how you connect.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is, and that is one of your incredible abilities, is that ability to go within, but like be so connected, so profoundly connected. Yeah, because without that, you wouldn't be you.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah. That's really cool. Well, I want to thank you. I know I don't want to take up more of your time because you've given me a lot of time already. I want to thank you so much. Is there any future developments or projects that you're excited about with Superpower Inc.?
Yes. Ooh. Yes. I'm working on a master class that will be, it's an hour of just talking about superpowers and how to find your superpowers, going through the steps, giving people examples. So, and that should be available, within a couple of weeks. And it'll be on Twitter. And on my Twitter, or X, as it is now. But it's at Superpower Queen is how you find me.
Okay. I will put that in the show notes.
And I'll have lots of other courses and things, but I think that's the basic one, is to think, to know, okay, I have an idea of what my superpower is.
That is really cool. I'm so glad about that. That's awesome. Well, thank you again. I'm going to put that in the show notes, and I will like to tune in for that. That would be pretty cool. So I have to follow you, and so we'll know what date and time that's going to be, and how to get to that. Okay.
And I'll be in touch. Awesome. I'll let you know.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I appreciate
it. Yes, thank you. So, it's been a great conversation.
It's been an awesome conversation. Yes. And what is your website?
Yes, it's www.superpowerinc.org.
Yep, I see it here.
If you do it.com, you'll get a power station in New Jersey, and that's the page.
And that brings us to an end of another extraordinary episode of the Sensible Hippie Podcast. A huge thank you to our guest, Mary Beth Robinson, for sharing her insights and guiding us through the fascinating world of our inner superpowers. It's been an enlightening experience uncovering the hidden strengths and potential that lie within each of us. And to my listeners, I hope this episode has inspired you to explore and embrace your unique abilities. Remember, your superpower is waiting to be discovered and harnessed for a life filled with greater creativity, motivation, and joy. If you want to learn more about Mary Beth's work, be sure to check out Superpower Inc. And as always, follow me on your favorite podcast platform for more thought-provoking discussions and exploration into truths of our worlds. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star rating. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast and share it with others who might find value in these discussions. Your support is what keeps this podcast thriving. So let's continue to explore truths, challenge norms, and think outside the box. Until the next time, I hope you find your superpower and stay sensible. Bye!
Forget everything that you thought you knew. I do things better, you know I do. The rhythm I have can't escape it. Baby, don't fight it, embrace it. De la cabeza a los pies, el ritmo te mueve otra vez. Suena tambor, así es mejor. Deja esa timidez. Don't fight it, just do it. You like me cause I move it. Everything you want gonna come full swing. I just need you to do one thing. Muévelo. Move it. They call me Morena Victoria, and they're feeling the euphoria. Y el ritmo sigue subiendo, ya tú sabes lo que estoy haciendo. Sigue la fiesta, sigue el tempo, y yo te doy lo que sigues pidiendo. Don't fight it, just do it. You like me cause I move it. Everything you want gonna come full swing.